Blessed be, magic makers. So if you didn't watch my last video, go watch my last video. So I didn't want to make that video too long, so I wanted to make another one where I was explaining what kind of altar this is and what I was doing. So I did my floating altar, and I made that video where I talk about altars. This is the one I have, is an elemental altar. It represents every element, every cardinal direction. North up at the top. Where's my little pointer? This is north up here, east, south, and west. So this is water in it. And I have seashells and pearls and little mermaids that represent Aphrodite and Venus. And then I have some water for my floating altar. For north, I have dirt and wood chippings and stems and branches. And these are from my yard and flowers that I received. Over here, I have an incense and I have a felt feather. Now I have the feather way back from the fire. No incidences. And then for fire, I have a couple candles, and then I have a crystal that represents the correspondences of fire: action, motivation, passion, desire. And then I have some sigils for fire made on little leather cutouts, and then the fire candle in the middle represents the spirit. So if you noticed, if you start noticing to where you feel out of balance, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like everything is coming at you from all directions, then you need to get centered. And I love the altar that I did with the water, but when I looked at it, it looked overwhelming. That's the last thing that you want to look at and you want to feel when it comes to your altars. It's supposed to be your place of grounding, your place of being able to be centered, your place of peace and comfort and security. So the last thing that you want to do is look at your altar and feel overwhelmed. So if you start to feel these things, then it's time to redo your altar. Sometimes taking it back to the basics, making it as simple as possible, a couple things that represent each cardinal direction and each element with balance. Now, what I was doing some divination. I was asking my pendulum a couple things. And if you watch the video, you also see me doing some hand movements. If I see a certain symbol in my mind, I will write it down. If I see words, or if I suddenly start thinking of a color or an animal or any of those things, then I will write that down so I can go back and see, well, does that animal represent one of these directions? Is it, say, a lion? That would represent, it's a Leo. So that would represent something with action. Maybe I have too much or too little of that element in my life. Or am I concentrating on something on my altar that has to do with the water? Maybe I'm being too emotional, or maybe I don't have enough emotions about a particular situation. It's very easy to get off balance. It's very easy to have a bunch of ideas, but then not follow through with them. Or have a lot of projects started, but we don't think them through. So it's really easy to be, too much toward one kind of element and not at all toward another one. So if you're feeling like this, taking it all the way back to the basics is a really good way to hone in on that. Sometimes just putting a couple things, or even just a candle in front of you, closing your eyes, and see if anything comes before you. That's how we start working on our intuition. That is how we start learning how to listen to our intuition more. We start growing and developing our gifts by using them more. Blessed be. Another good way to have balance is if you can mix your stones. If you have something that represents the moon, maybe have something that represents the sun. If you have something that represents action, maybe have something that represents thought, or emotions and thought, or, water and fire kind of thing, earth and air, kind of, so they play off of one another.